funk. Live on GBC24 and GTV. Good evening, you're welcome to the news. My name is Suyokwo Kwakutre.
I am Shirley Annan. Clement Sam is our signer for tonight.
In the headlines, remains of Major Mahama laid to rest at the military cemetery in Accra.
NADMO orders management of Profos Limited to submit the company's safety policy.
And UN Human Rights Watch calls for investigations into massacres and crimes in DR Congo's central province of Kasai. Now the news in detail. The body of the late Major Maxwell Adam Mahama has finally been interred at the Osu Cemetery in Accra. The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, former President John Ajekum Kufuor, and John Mahama, current and former Ministers of State and other dignitaries, hundreds of Ghanaians joined the wife and the family of the late Major to pay their last respects and bid him farewell.
Officer, yet to get to the peak of his career, brutally killed in a mob attack in the line of duty. Born in 1985, Major Mahama died aged 31. He left home on official assignment but was never to return. His wife, children, relatives and friends have been left devastated by his sudden death. Major Maxwell Adam Mahama's death shocked the military and has created a deep awareness about the effects and the need to halt instant justice or mob action in the country. The Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces and the President of Ghana posthumously promoted him to the rank of a major. On Friday, he was accorded state burial and a trust set up with a seed money of 500,000 cedis in his honor. Ahead of the burial at the military cemetery, many filed past the body as they paid their last respects to a man who, in the face of clear danger and with the right weapon, refused to hurt a life. The Vice President, Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, led the government delegation to pay their last respect to Major Mahama. The country's military top brass also bid the late Major farewell. Two of the country's former presidents attended the funeral service of the young officer, which for many rekindled memories of grief untimely born. Paying tribute to her son, the mother of Major Mahama described his death as a loss that can never be replaced.
I am a woman of faith, so death and dying are not my fears. But never in my wildest nightmares did I ever think I would be burying one of my sons. Never. The gruesome and the horrific way my poor baby was snatched from this earth is beyond words. I feel as if my heart has been ripped from my chest. I feel hollow, just moving about like an empty shell. My baby is gone forever.
Our departed Army officer and comrade lived a worthy and enviable life. His loyalty, dedication to duty, and honesty will continue to inspire the living. On this day, we all join in condoling with the bereaved family for this irreplaceable loss. May the soul of Major Maxwell Adam Mahama rest in perfect peace and absolute peace with its maker. So we meet again.
The father of the late Major was so grief-stricken he could not read his tribute.
This relationship started right from his birth
This is what his beloved wife, Barbara Mahama, said of him.
The years ahead will be full of memories, but I wanted more than just memories. It's fine, I'll manage. You wanted us to grow old together, but God needs you where you are, because there are too many obstacles and temptations here on earth. You are so safe, I am glad. I love you is not a new word to you, because I love yous were always said in our house. My dear husband, Justin partner, advisor, teacher, mentor, Maxwell Adam Mahama, rest in perfect peace. I love you.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, described Major Mahama as a hero who will never be forgotten in the annals of the country.
If ever there was a person who did not deserve to die in such an untimely and unfortunate manner, it was Major Maxwell Adam Mahama. But such is life. Sometimes the worst happens to good people. May the death of Major Maxwell Adam Mahama serve as the death that heralded the death of impunity in our nation. May the tears of his wife and children and family never again be shed by another soldier's family, or another family for that matter. Major Maxwell Adam Mahama, may it be known to you, even as you journey into eternity, that we, the government and people of Ghana, shall immortalize you. We shall celebrate you. We shall do right by your family. Let the angels sing to you that you left behind a nation in appreciation.
The body of the late military officer was ushered by the military to the Osu Military Cemetery. As his casket was...
It was a sorrowful moment for the entire nation as Ghana paid its last respects to a gallant soldier and hero, Major Maxwell Adam Mahama. But some of the people GBC24 spoke to at the funeral grounds said the gruesome murder of the Major should be enough lesson to hold instant justice in the country.
He didn't die a useless death. From the point that the president has promised that we should erect a monument for him to give assurance to the family that yes, their son has been remembered and accorded the necessary respect, and for the soldiers at large.
To be a citizen, to be a Ghanaian, means to be each brother or sister's keeper. It means to abhor violence. It means to recognize that while we can disagree, we shouldn't cross a line which will merely render us no different to being animals or existing in some kind of medieval or feudal society.
It can only stop when those in authority will also cooperate and support the security services, support the mass of our people who know that this kind of engagement, privateering on our national resources, is not good, it's not worth it, and that it must be stopped. It's only when we do this that the hands of the security personnel will be strengthened, that when they die gallantly, when they are fighting to protect us, protect our resources, then the others will be more and more encouraged to stand firm.
As we scold the people of Denchire, let us also take it that it is as a result of default security in place that has caused this. I call that there should be a national monument and one erected in Denchire Boase, where a statue will be erected in memory of Maxwell there, so that growing generations will get to realize that once upon a time, citizens of this area betrayed national confidence in them.
We now bring you sights and sounds from Major Mahama's funeral at the State House in Accra.
At the end of the second business week of Parliament, the House bid farewell to the slain soldier, Major Maxwell Adamama, who was interred on Friday. Members called for a national monument to be built in his honor and to symbolize the end of mob justice.
At a material time, he had the power to conquer death, yet he embraced death when death beckoned. Even in face of death, he refused to kill his fellow human beings. A gallant soldier, well-trained, living up to the tenets of his training. We in Parliament are highly impressed with his career as a young military officer and would urge all colleagues to emulate such sterling qualities.
Mr. Speaker, we join you in supporting the position of Parliament that a national monument be built and dedicated to his memory to signal an end to mob injustice, not mob justice, and that never again will we as a country tolerate this happening. The best we can do to eulogize and memorize the past of Maxwell is to bring the perpetrators to book, to punish them swiftly, and to unravel the facts surrounding the circumstances of his death. The Ghana Armed Forces legitimately is justified to be angry. I trust and pray that this will not sever civil-military relations.
No, we are gonna miss you, oh. But we gonna fight for your justice. Oh, oh, Maxwell, Adam, Mama, we truly sorry, oh. Ghana is really sorry, oh. Oh, oh, Maxwell, Adam, Mahama. Don't I make a big boy? Okay, I'm a hickey, I wish I did them when them start this. I wish I could be stopped when them start this. But nobody did that. Nobody did that. Oh, 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 Maxwell, Adam, Mahama. We truly sorry, oh. Ghana is really sorry, oh. Oh, oh, Maxwell, Adam, Mahama. Don't I make a baby boy? Okay, I'm a hickey, oh. I pray the Lord deals with you one by one. You'll never go unpunished.
Another footprint left in the sands of time. With the onset of the rains, members of the Parliamentary Select Committees on Works and Housing have inspected the progress of work on the Odor River and Korle Lagoon. Dredging of the two channels has been ongoing to avoid a repeat of the June 3 disaster.
June 3rd disaster was attributed to the pollution of the Odor River and Korle Lagoon. Government engaged dredge masters to assess sewer and stormwater drainage alleviation project. The project, which is in 3 phases, is to prevent the perennial flooding of the Odor River during the rainy season, restore the lagoon to its basic state, and also carry out infrastructural activities among others. Work on the first phase of the project, which is dredging and desilting to 500 cubic meters, is complete. The course and outlets at Aveno, Caprice, Agbogloshi, Abosiokai and Circle have all been cleared. Despite the efforts, contractors say they had to intermittently carry out additional works on the Odo due to stillation and pollution. People have also encroached on the buffer zone. Members of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Works and Housing expressed satisfaction at work done so far. They were, however, worried that the aim of the project would be defeated if drastic measures are not taken to halt human activities along the Odo and Korle Lagoon.
We have to cultivate a different habit, the way we act as human beings. Those ways, if we are able to curb it down, I think we will also be able to stop, the floods. And I think we need to have a lot of education to go into this one here. No matter how much amount of money that you pump into it, if you don't change your habits, nothing will really help us.
Government is yet to settle the debt of over $10 million owed dredge masters to pave the way for the phase 2 and 3 of the projects to start.
It is in 3 sections. First of all, we have the dredging and the silting. Then we have the revamping or reconstruction and redesign of the clep interceptor, and then the stone jetty, which is the breakwater. And then the third component is the beautification and bank stabilization.
For doing a good job. Virtually they have worked for more than 1 year without a CD paying to them. And so I want to use this medium to call on the government to, as a matter of urgency, try and then make some resources available to dredge masters so that they can continue to work to protect all of us.
This is the final phase of the project. It is envisaged that the Korle Lagoon could be developed into a tourist site.
The Director General of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, Mr. Eric Ajiman-Prempeh, has directed the management of Prefos Limited to submit to his office a copy of the company's safety management policy within 21 working days. Failure to comply with the directive, he noted, could compel NADMO to close down the company. Mr. Ajiman-Prempeh gave the order after touring the premises of the company in the Ejisu-Juabe municipality of the Ashanti region.
Limited is a private company involved in electrical engineering, manufacturing and installation at Adakujachi in the Ashanti region. It is currently helping almost all the metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies across the country in the provision of street lighting systems. It also provides electrical training for both staff and interested individuals. The inspection tour of the company's premises by the Director General of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, Mr. Eric Nana Ajiman-Prempeh, was to enable him to better appreciate the safety situation there. The NADMO team was briefed by the management of Prefos Limited, after which they went round the various departments of the company. During a media briefing, Mr. Ajiman-Prempeh raised issues with some safety measures, including the apparent lack of an emergency exit at the main administration block.
The Energy Commission has been advising house owners to employ qualified electricians to do the wiring to avoid future occurrences.
Meanwhile, the NADMO boss has appealed to all Ghanaians to help find a lasting solution to the continuous spread of armyworm invasion of farms in the country. He expressed fear that if the invasion continues, Ghana could experience reduction in particularly maize production. Mr. Ajiman-Prempeh was addressing some members of the Hafano North District Assembly, MOFA and NADMO staff at Tepa in response to the latest report of armyworms invasion of maize farms during a visit to one of the attacked maize farms in the area. Farmers have disclosed that the armyworms have developed resistance to most of the government-recommended agrochemicals, but said AgriGold, a locally manufactured chemical, has proven very efficacious in fighting the worms. They therefore urged the government to consider adopting AgriGold in its efforts to control the worms.
Still watching News Are Live on GBC24. Pilgrims who will be embarking on this year's Hajj in Saudi Arabia have appealed to the Hajj board to set up a task force to oversee their affairs while on the pilgrimage. According to the pilgrims, the role of the task force will be to assist them should they run into any difficulty while in Saudi Arabia.
13 flights, 6 from Tamale and 7 from Accra, will carry Muslims from Ghana to Saudi Arabia for the Hajj. Each person is expected to pay 15,000 Ghana cedis for the trip. The chairman of the Hajj board, Sheikh Kwe, said the board has been to Saudi Arabia to ensure that measures have been put in place to make this year's Hajj trouble-free for Ghanaian pilgrims. He noted that they were confronted with debt in housing and flying pilgrims over the years to Saudi Arabia. Sheikh Kwe said as part of the preparations, the Hajj village in Ghana and the Accra Central Mosque have been renovated, while in Saudi Arabia too, preparations have been made for food, accommodation, transportation and health.
We have debt of 12 million Ghana cedis lying in the bank for us to pay. This year we decided, because the old ulama has taught us that interest is not good in Islam. Interest is like, when you deal with interest, then it's like fighting God the Almighty and then also the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so we decided this year not to go for loan in the bank. And yet we have been able to reach where we have reached today.
Sheikh Kwe said the deadline for payment for the pilgrimage is at the end of June. The head of the medical team for the Hajj, Dr. Zakaria Saidu, also said prospective pilgrims will undergo health screening to determine medical advice for them.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration wishes to inform the general public and affected institutions that, due to circumstances beyond its control, it has become necessary to shut down the VVIP and VIP lounges at the Kotoka International Airport from Monday, 12th June 2017 until further notice. In the meantime, special arrangements shall be put in place by the Protocol Bureau of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration for the Diplomatic Hall and senior government officials only. All other passengers are advised to use normal departure and arrival channels at the Kotoka International Airport.
Good evening. We do business brought to you by NIB and Ernest Chemist. We start off from Parliament, where the first Deputy Speaker of the House, Mr. Joseph Osewusu, has directed the Ghana Revenue Authority to engage the Finance Ministry and the Finance Committee of Parliament on modalities to implement the amended VAT Act 948. Implementation of the new act, which requires scrapping of some taxes and reduction, was suspended by the Ghana Revenue Authority.
Added Tax Act amendment passed into law this year was expected to be implemented within 30 days of its passage, but the Ghana Revenue Authority called for suspension of its implementation because of some challenges it was facing with the process. The minority leader, Mr. Haruna Idrisu, moved a motion for the Ministry of Finance to implement the act.
All we are saying is that 3% VAT for 30 days will not bring the same returns as 17.5% VAT for 30 days. They should come back and make full disclosures. But Mr. Speaker, we are helping the Deputy Minister for Finance. But if he chooses to say no consequence, we can live in a world where motions and bills will have no consequence.
It is difficult for the Ghana Revenue Authority to prepare all the instructions that they would need to give to their men on the ground, because when bills come here, they change a lot. In my view, this motion is proper and it should be supported. If any way the ministry thinks that they still need it, they can come back to the house. You have and come and do an emergency one-day passage to allow for the transition and not to be using a practice note.
The taxpayers' consent needed more attention. To do that, we advise the GRA to withdraw the practice notes. To withdraw so that we can resolve the misunderstanding and then they can proceed with the implementation as has started already. So the suggestion that somehow we are suspending a law passed by this House is incorrect.
Today, we are witnessing a situation where the Ghana Revenue Authority, because they have identified some difficulties in implementing this tax, they are extending the date. Mr. Speaker, if they really want to do that, I ask the minister responsible for finance, his deputy is here, Mr. Speaker, they should come properly. They should come properly and amend the law.
Really, in getting it implemented on the ground, some administrative measures may have to be taken. And that indeed is what we witnessed under the previous administration with respect to the regulations that he quoted. That is not to say that if anything wrong has been done, we must condone it. What is wrong is wrong.
After a lengthy debate, the Speaker put a motion to vote. The first Deputy Speaker directed the Ghana Revenue Authority to come back to the House for a new legislation if the suspension is deemed necessary.
We go to the stock market where intravenous infusion, a Ghanaian pharmaceutical company, raised 6.6 million Ghana cedis when it listed on the Ghana alternative market a year ago. Although the amount falls short of the expected 12.4 million, the managing director of intravenous infusion, Mr. David Kluche, says there would be a private placement to raise 5.4 million Ghana cedis to sustain their operations.
Intravenous Infusions, a pharmaceutical company, is responsible for the production of infusions, well known as drips, on the Ghanaian market. Based in Koforidua, the company listed on the Ghana alternative market last year to raise capital to pay off their debt and expand their operations. As they attend at the facts behind the figure series by the Ghana Stock Exchange, the managing director of Intravenous Infusions, Mr. David Kluche, said after the listing, the gross profit of the company increased by 60.2%, whereas gross revenue also increased by 40.7%.
We retired some of the debts that the company had, the machines that were bought. We used some of the placement funds to retire all the debts, and some other cutbacks, and a little amount also in working capital as a result of the increased output. We had to increase our working capital to support that.
Mr. Kluche said despite the challenges the company encountered with payments under the NHIA, the outlook of the company is very promising.
As they're working on the funding, we're also working on the new products, injectables that we want to bring on board. We have to go through a rigorous regulatory regime to register all these products with dossiers, with stability data, and these things have a long gestation time of about 6 to 9 months to get all of these things out of the way. We are hoping that by the time we can get this clinical data done, as well as the machine being in place, we'll all be ready for next year's takeoff. So that is the intention.
The managing director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Mr. S.K. Yemwa, lauded the performance of intravenous infusions in its first year of listing on the alternative market.
We go to the interbank markets where the pound is selling at 5 cedis 58 pesos, the US dollar at 4 cedis 30 pesos, and the euro going for 4 cedis 84 pesos. We also bring you latest prices of major commodities on the international market. That was business brought to you by NIB and Ernest Chemist.
FPAC. Any person within the ages of 17 to 60 can donate blood. A person's weight has a correlation with his chances of donating blood. GBC24's Mavis Ofeya-Champon tells us more on the need to donate blood, especially for emergency cases.
Blood is an important resource both for planned treatment and urgent interventions. When it comes to emergencies, blood is key. Very vital in life-saving roles, especially maternal and perinatal care, as well as surgical procedures. The lives and health of millions of people are affected by emergencies every year. In the last decade, disasters have caused more than 1 million deaths, with more than 250 million people being affected by emergencies every year. Emergencies are believed to increase the demand for blood transfusion and makes its delivery challenging and complex. Currently, what Ghana mostly depends on when it comes to blood is voluntary donation. A person can donate blood once or twice a month. It is advisable to donate blood every 4 months, by which time a person is believed to have had a replenished blood.
We must see blood as a civic responsibility, and we donate blood. Because in the developed world, people see blood donation as a civic responsibility. They walk in to go and donate blood. Because it's good to be a regular donor. Because if you're a regular donor, every time you come in, you are tested, you're going through a process. So and you are also asked to live a safe lifestyle, so you can belong to a safe pool of donors.
In many countries, blood services face the challenges of making sufficient blood available while ensuring its quality and safety, and the Ghana National Blood Service is no exception. According to the Chief Executive of the Ghana National Blood Service, Dr. Justin Ansah, the National Blood Service is currently handicapped when it comes to emergencies.
As a country, if we're talking about adequacy, we need at least 10 persons per 1,000 population to donate, and we are talking about 6. So in terms of adequacy, we don't have enough. And again, when it comes to voluntary donors, we're only talking about 55%. So we have a lot of work to do. We are not self-sufficient. I mean, that's a fact. And so that self-sufficient even when there's no disaster. So that if there's a disaster, as per our theme for World Blood Donor Day, then we really have a problem.
She appealed for the passage of the National Blood Service Ghana Bill that will help in the enforcement of its mandates.
The blood policy was actually approved for implementation by Cabinet in 2006. And it was hoped that after the policy was approved, the bill, it will be developed into a bill and then passed. But it's 11 years now. It's been in and out because what is happening is that as soon as it's developed, it goes through the process. We've had it going to Cabinet and to Parliament twice. And of course, when there's a change of government, it has to come back. So this time around, we have the assurance that it's going to go and it will be passed very soon, so that it gives us actually we can enforce things.
At a lecture ahead of World Blood Donor Day, which comes off on the 17th of this month, the Disaster Management Coordinator of the Ghana Red Cross, Dr. Saladin Mahama, said one of the importance of blood donation is the easy identification of a person's blood group, especially during emergencies.
It's another way of preventing what? Cancer, or reducing your risk of getting cancer. That's donation. Then it also boosts the production of new blood cells and promote good health. Because blood takes some time to be tested, processed, and made available for patients, it is the blood already on the shelves that can help save the day when emergencies occur.
The Managing Director of Graphic Communications, Mr. Ken Ashigbe, who chaired the occasion, said regular blood donation helps in ensuring that the country has adequate blood supply at all times. This year's Blood Donor Day is under the theme, What Can You Do? Give blood, give now, give often. For GBC24, Mavis Ofe Champon reporting.
The World Health Organization says the number of suspected cholera cases in Yemen has passed 100,000. A total of 798 deaths associated with the disease have been recorded in 19 out of 22 provinces since 27th April 2007. And that's it for the health segment. Coming up is the international news.
Good evening, let's talk sports. I'm Theophilus Sampa. Members of the national bodybuilding team, the Black Muscles, say they can win more laurels for the country if they get support. The team recently took Africa by storm by winning 2 gold medals, a bronze and silver, in the just and the 2017 Arnold Classic Africa.
In spite of the lack of sponsorship for bodybuilders, a team of Ghanaian amateur and professional bodybuilders represented the country well and won medals at the 2017 edition of the Arnold Classic Africa held in Johannesburg. Michael Panel won gold in the men's under 70 kg class. Oliver Prempe also won gold in the men's under 80 kg class. Godwin Frimpong picked bronze, whilst Man Ghana champion Cyril Ajakufi came second in the men's under 90 kg, picking silver. The only female among the team, Bambi Bamfo, placed 4th in the women's bikini fitness competition. At a news conference in Accra to celebrate the achievement, the athlete appealed for support.
It is the first time that, as an association, we're going to compete in an international event, and we have 2 main sponsors. Over 10 years, we've not had any support from the sports ministry, but this time around, through our able sports minister, Isaac Esia, and then the present GOC president, Mr. Ben Nunu Mensah. The GOC, in conjunction with the sports ministry, were able to give the association 2 flight tickets to and fro Johannesburg.
I came second. I'm not happy. I'm not happy because the stretch that we passed through all the athletes is very hard work, suffering to make it. I win Man Ghana twice because I promised Ghana to win 6 times. Even pure water, 1 cedi, nobody give anybody. But we pay for registration fee. Going to South Africa, we pay our visa fee ourselves.
Sometimes it's hurting, you see, when you have to step on the stage and you're not called Bambi, but you're called Bambi from Ghana, meaning you expect the Ghanaians or the sports to actually back you because you stand in there and then you stand in there as Bambi from Ghana, Michael from Ghana, you see. So that is why we are a bit, concerned.
We chose to do bodybuilding. And that's the sport that we chose. You're not about people. People look at us and give us a different perspective about the way we look. Let's not care about it. It's a sport. When you go over there, they respect you. People out there respect you for you being the police don't want to be your friend. But this minute, Ghana, nobody respect the sport. So nobody is actually coming up and needing to hold the sport for the sport to grow. And this is a sport that can fetch the nation money, believe it or not.
The Ghana bodybuilding team at the tournament had support from Karabu Energy Drink and Ironman Supplement.
Let's talk football now, where Accra Folk bounced back from their weekend defeat to Wafa to beat Bolga All Stars by 4-0. Their result of matches played today at Wawa All Stars 3, Prekum Chelsea 0, Hearts 4, Bolga All Stars 0, Takwa Medium IC 0, Ash Gold 1, Elwak Interlies 2, Elmina Sharks 0, Dansuma Liberty 0, Wafa 0, Cape Coast Dwarfs 1, Bichim United 0. That's all for sports.
tributes continue to pour in for the late Major Maxwell Adamahama. Oswald Okaite, a performing poet who fuses music with poetry, pays tribute to the late soldier with his spoken word skills titled Soldier.
Yesterday, a soldier died in his motherland. Yesterday, a soldier paid for no offense, but for his altruism. He died. He died saving his land and the very people who stabbed his birth. Yesterday, Mahama, soldier, died, a hero. Yesterday, the dark side of gold cast its shadow over a soldier in a land, alas, of freedom rests in the graves of whales and unseasoned tears. Dark side of gold is evident even in the eyes of the blind, yet the truth strives to unknot itself.
But that's all in the news for now. Thank you so very much for watching.
We'll bring you news tonight at 10 p.m. Please make a date.
Good evening.